In this video, we're going to showcase 25 really creative and unique builds that were shared in 2025 in the MakerPipe community. These are all really wildly different. We've got some gardening projects, some home projects, and hobbies, all kinds of different things you'll be able to get ideas from in this video. And I love doing this every year. As we go into the new year, we kind of look back and see some of the really creative things that people have made with EMT conduit and MakerPipe connectors. And if you're unfamiliar with those two materials, the EMT conduit is something you can get off the shelf at different hardware and home improvement stores. You can get it in various sizes and different lengths. And MakerPipe connectors are something that we manufacture in upstate South Carolina, so you can build all kinds of really cool projects like the ones that you're going to see in this video. And you don't have to do any welding. You can use handheld tools like a rotating pipe and tube cutter, and then just a 5mm hex wrench to assemble connections. And you can build pretty much anything you can think of. And these builds that we're going to see today are really going to highlight that fact. And first up, we've got a really cool simulator rig that was put together a while ago by John. This was earlier in the year, and this is really fantastic. This one has some really cool things incorporated into it. The seat, the steering wheel, everything is all built into the simulator. And we've seen a variety of simulators over the years. We've even built one on the channel here in the past, which is really cool. But this one is really cool and really unique. Has a lot of bins incorporated into it, which I always love to see. That's another handheld tool that you can use with the EMT conduit and gives you a lot of creative possibilities in your builds. And we're going to highlight a few throughout this video where you can see the bender in action. Here we've got a few photos of it that we can see where kind of went through the build process with the bins, the plywood attached, the pedals. It's got the monitor mounted. It's got the laptop mounted. Just a ton of really cool things in this. We can see a variety of MakerPipe connectors like the T connectors there. And we can see the couplings being used there, which is a great thing to use to make bending easier in your projects. And overall, this is just a really fantastic build to kick off this roundup. So thanks so much, John, for sharing it. Next up is the build that we saw earlier in the year from Mark. This is a lawnmower rack that he put together. This is really cool and really creative. It just mounts to the back of his lawnmower. We can see with some U-bolts there, kind of mounts to the rail of the lawnmower, and then the flat kind of hitch mount on the back there. This is really cool. Just two rectangles pretty much made with various MakerPipe connectors like the 90-degree and the T connector. And this is pretty much just meant to be kind of a bed that's on the back of this, so you can use it for hauling things around the yard like this mulch that we can see here. Really creative and not too complicated to put together, and just a really cool one from Mark. So thanks so much. We love seeing it. Next up are a series of props that were put together for theater performance, and these are really cool because they had pretty much a time limit that they had to set up the different props in their show. And so everybody had to kind of compete in this competition. They had to follow this certain time limit. And so EMT conduit and MakerPipe really worked perfectly to allow them to do that, because as we can see here, they used various fittings, to put together the frame. And because of the simplicity of using a 5mm hex wrench to make connections, then they could put these together really quickly. And they actually shared a YouTube video that I'll link down below that you can check out. You can see the whole setup for this, and they were actually able to do it within time and have some time to spare, which is always cool to hear and see when people are able to use MakerPipe and conduit to solve unique problems like that. So this is really awesome. Thanks so much for sharing it. Next up is this really cool mobile trellis that Scott put together. And essentially he just built this, rectangular sled at the bottom with some MakerPipe 90-degree connectors, some T connectors, some four-way connectors there in the middle, and pretty much just has these two kind of rails that go up on each side. And then he just bent the cattle panels over and created this trellis that makes it really easy whenever he's ready to tear this down. He can just take those cattle panels off of the frame and, kind of just pop them out of the sled that he built and, pretty much store those or move them around. And really cool. I think that's why he called this a mobile trellis. And there's the mini model we can see of it before he built it. And this is just really cool. A lot of good ideas and a lot of ways you could use this, I think. So really awesome. Thanks so much for sharing it. Next up is a drying rack from Raymond, and this is really fantastic. And this is a kind of a combination of some unistrut, it looks like, as well as the EMT conduit, of course. We can see here he kind of built this base layer with unistrut and then has some brackets mounting pieces together. Then he's got the EMT conduit mounted to that at an angle going up, we can see. And then he pretty much created this V-shaped drying rack using various connectors like the T connector, the 90-degree connector, the adjustable angle hinge connector there, and then just put some hardware cloth on the frame, and that created this drying rack for his plants. Really cool. Love seeing this one. And, kind of the first time we saw, a combination with these brackets with the EMT conduit that kind of led into a full build with MakerPipe and conduit, and just a really awesome combination of materials. So really awesome. Thanks so much for sharing it. sharing that. Next up is this really cool prom prop that was put together by Scott. And this is really cool. Pretty much just a large half moon made all with the empty conduit, as we can see here. And it kind of has this, kind of rectangular design that goes all the way through. And I imagine this was, pretty fun to get right and get all those angles right and to achieve this. But it looks like it turned out awesome and has, all the decor on top of it and looks really fantastic. And they said it was a big hit. We can see here it's got the kind of wooden rectangle base that each side is mounted to with the adjustable angle flanges. Then just has the empty conduit going up and kind of these using the handheld bender to do incremental bending to achieve this large arch. And it came together really good and looks fantastic all set up there. So thanks so much for sharing this. We love seeing it. Next up is an award podium that David shared, and this is really fantastic. I think the first award podium that we've seen, and pretty much just as you'd imagine, an award podium has different levels and different tiers, and he was able to do this by just shortening the length of the legs for each of the podium. Then he's got the kind of the top part of the podium mounted to the frames with maker pipe flanges, and really awesome idea. Never really seen this before, but it came together great, and it's just a really great idea, I think, and a great way to utilize the empty conduit and connectors, and looks really awesome all set up here with all the vinyl on there for the different placeholders, and just really cool. Love seeing this one earlier in the year. Really appreciate you sharing it. Next up is a golf simulator that was put together by Fred, and this is really awesome because he kind of wanted to work in his garage without taking up the whole garage, and he wanted this to be able to exist in the garage without taking up a lot of space and allow his car to park in there, as we can see there. So essentially, just utilized this floating shelf that he had and just built this rectangular frame, I guess technically two rectangular frames, one that mounts underneath that shelf and then the one for the backdrop for the screen to kind of sit in. And then he's also got these side rails that fold out, and we can see there that he's got curtains sliding over the empty conduit, and those slide in and out and then allow him to kind of move everything out of the way, as we can see here whenever he's ready to park his garage or park his car in the garage. So that's really awesome, and pretty simple frame overall. Just maker pipe flanges to mount this to the wall, T connectors and a lot of your standard flanges, or your connectors, but just really used in a creative way to solve a unique problem in the garage. So that's cool, Fred. Thanks so much for sharing it. Next up is a bunny tractor that was put together by Ann, and this is really feature dense. It's packed full of cool stuff, as we can see here. It's got hardware cloth on the outside. It's got a lid that pops up and opens, as we can see here, utilizing some of the 3D printed hinges from Billy from Northwoods Engineered. You've got one-hole straps holding the plywood in place. It's just really cool. Got a compartment for the bunnies to go into to nest there, as we can see, and then it's also got the open area where they can be out in the open with the hardware cloth kind of enclosing them in there. It's got the wheels mounted to it. It's got a handle incorporated into it. Like I said, just super feature dense and just a really awesome build, and we love seeing this one, Ann. Next up is a roof rack that was shared by Blanco, originally in the Facebook group, which, if you didn't know, we have a Maker Pipe Facebook group that you can join. I'll link it down below. But this is a really fantastic kind of roof rack that sits, I guess not really above the roof, it's above the bed in the back, but it sits over top of the bed topper, which is really cool and utilizes some really great techniques, including, incorporating unistrut into it, utilizing just the standard electrical unistrut, kind of clamps there. It's got some Maker Pipe T's, some 45-degree connectors to reinforce it. And then down here is a custom fabricated plate that sits in between the bed and the bed topper. And then he's got some stubs that stick up, and the empty conduit is sliding over those stubs, and then he's got some pins there to hold this in place. So that makes it really easy to keep the bed topper in place, but be able to take the rack off whenever he doesn't need to use it, which is really cool. And we love seeing this. Really great idea, and a lot of cool things incorporated into it. And I'll link it down below so you can check out and ask him any questions. And that goes for all these builds. They're all going to be linked down below, so you can check them out and check the photos out for yourself if you're interested. But thanks so much, Blanco, for sharing this. Really great build. Next up is a storage build that I love that was shared earlier in the year, and this is a laundry room kind of storage setup where they can have dirty clothes, or I guess clean clothes, at the bottom here in these different baskets, and they're kind of angled so you can easily reach in and grab what you need. Then it also has this elevated upper bar that all the clothes are hung on there, and it looks really good, and I imagine this is really useful, especially if you live somewhere like an apartment complex or something where you may not have exactly what you need for storage. This would be a great thing to build and pretty easily, utilizing just a lot of Maker Pipe T connectors and some flanges at the bottom there, and you can make a pretty simple stand that kind of utilizes those really cheap totes that you can use for storing clothes and organizing them, and not too complicated overall, just to add some extra storage in your apartment or home or wherever you are. I can see this being really useful in a laundry room specifically. If you have enough space where you can wash clothes and put everything away in there, or at least organize it in there. That's really cool, and I think gives you a lot of possibilities. We actually did a build breakdown of this that you can check out. A link down below if you want to kind of watch it and see exactly how to recreate it. But this is really cool, and I really appreciate you sharing it. Next up is a 3D printer enclosure that was shared a while back by Brian. This is really cool. Just pretty much wanted to enclose his 3D printer work area, as we can see here. Pretty much just built a giant rectangle, and then put some plastic on the outside, put some things on the front that make it easy to walk in and out. And he said it pretty much captures the air. He said he's not completely airtight, but it has a filter in there, which is cool, and just has some really unique things incorporated into it, so he can organize the filament on this back wall, as we can see, and pretty much just have a dedicated space that the air is mostly tight, and can kind of control the quality of the air and everything like that in there, which is really cool, and helps the prints tremendously. So that's really awesome. Love seeing this, and just a really unique and creative space and use of materials. Next up is a simple one, but one that I love. This was from David. This was a jacuzzi lift cover that he shared, where essentially, if you've ever had to move a hot tub cover, it can be a huge pain and really annoying to do. Makes you not want to get in the hot tub at all. But this made it really easy, because he just built this bar that goes over top of the frame, just right in the middle of the crease there for the cover. Pretty much just folds the cover over and then can swing the whole thing away. As we can see here, this is just a really creative use of EMT conduit. Got some chain in there, and then a really creative use of the MakerPipe flanges down here, the adjustable flanges. You can leave those loose and make make this hinge by just leaving those two bottom base pieces spaced apart, so we can rotate it. And that's really awesome. I think a really great idea, and especially if you're working on a budget and want a nice cover lift that you can put together in an afternoon, probably like an hour or two, and you can save a lot of money and kind of make this way easier to do. So that's really awesome. Love seeing this. Thanks so much for sharing it. Next up is a go-kart that was built by Martin, and this is really awesome. This is one of the first go-karts that we've seen that has a full roll cage, which of course I have to highlight. Please be careful when you're building stuff like this. We always love seeing these projects. It's really amazing. But of course, just be careful. Make sure you do your own testing. Make sure it's safe, and make sure, first and foremost, that you're safe whenever you're building stuff like this. But this is really awesome. One of the coolest go-karts that we've seen in the community, and utilizes all EMT conduit and MakerPipe connectors. It's got the engine bolted on there. It's got the axles bolted to the conduit directly. Don't really see a ton of information on how this was built, but it looks really complex, and it's got a full steering system, and just really cool. If you're watching this, we'd love to hear more information on how you did this. You can email me and share as many details as you'd like, because this is really cool and something I could see us wanting to build for the channel. So really awesome, and just a ton of cool stuff within this. Can't believe someone actually built a full go-kart with a roll cage. It's really wild, but really cool, Martin. So thanks so much for sharing it. Next up are these portable stands that Steve put together, and I like these a bunch. These are made for bird cages, so really unique situation, but I think these could be used for making portable carts in the garage, because as we can see here, these are made to fold and store really easily. And then the way he's designed these kind of top platforms for the cages to sit on, there's a lip that the conduit catches underneath, and that makes it really easy for the conduit frame to fold out and catch, and then not have to really worry about it collapsing underneath the bird cages, or if you're using this as a workbench or something like that. I think it's a really cool design, really creative. We haven't really seen anything like that before, but really cool, and just kind of operates basically with these two legs stacked on top of each other to make this X frame, and then they just rotate and kind of hinge with the bolt in the middle there. And then of course we've got the casters on the bottom that allow these to roll around the garage or the home, wherever they are, and it's just really awesome. Really simple project, but one of those that's just so simple and so creative that it's just really cool, and had to include it for sure. But thanks so much, Steve, for sharing this. Awesome job. Next up is another golf simulator, but this one, I don't think they're too worried about space, because this one takes up a huge corner of this workshop or garage, whatever this is, and it is really awesome. I mean, this is pretty much a room built out of EMT conduit. As we can see here, they built the frame with EMT conduit, a ton of connectors, and then pretty much just used plywood on the outside of the frame, as we can see here. And then there's lights installed. Everything was painted. They added the green carpet in there, and then they've got the impact screen on the opposite wall that we can't really see. But this is really awesome, and we haven't really seen full, complete rooms built out of EMT conduit, but when we do, they are always awesome, just like this one. I really appreciate you sharing it. Really cool. Would love to see this in action if you want to share any videos or pictures of it. This was also shared in the Facebook group a while back, and I'll be sure to link it down below, as I mentioned earlier. But really cool. Thanks so much for sharing this. Next up was a head scratcher at first. We had no idea what a rail bike was, but essentially you can ride on railroad tracks if you're unfamiliar, as you can see here. And so essentially he used various MakerPipe connectors and some ingenuity to create this extension arm that goes off the side of his bike, and it allows him to ride on abandoned railroads and explore basically. And this is really creative, something like I said, never heard of before until this post in our community. So that was really cool from Brian to see, and really awesome that he was able to build the whole thing out of EMT conduit and MakerPipe, and just some really cool stuff. Definitely check out his post and you can get some insights into how he did this. Really creative things that he incorporated into this, with the angled bars going up to the bike, how he stabilized it, of course how he mounted this wheel and the bearing, and just all in all, a really fantastic one that is really creative and really cool to see, and we love it. So thanks so much, Brian, for sharing it. Next up is a disc golf cart that Carl built. Really love this one. This is fantastic. It even has a seat in the front so his kid can sit on there while he's riding around and going from hole to hole during the disc golf games, which is really awesome. It has a space for the bag to sit. It's got a lot of bins incorporated into it, so it looks nice. Has those Rubbermaid wheels on the bottom, so that's really good for all kinds of different terrain you're likely to run into, and just a lot of creative things incorporated into this. And always love seeing when people incorporate axles into their build. We've done a ton of videos on that topic that I'll be sure to link down below so you can check out and watch if you're looking to build something like this cart that incorporates that. But always a great technique to see, and this is just a disc golf cart that is truly really creative and really cool, and just love seeing disc golf carts and all the different iterations, all the different creativity that people incorporate into their own ideas. So thanks so much for sharing this, Carl. We love seeing it. This is an e-bike trailer from Jeremiah, and this is really awesome. This is meant to be a utility cart that he uses for hunting with his e-bike, as we can see here. And pretty much this folds out into a sleeping platform and can also be used to haul different things that you might need to haul while you're hunting. So really cool. We can see it here where it's kind of all folded up there in kind of travel mode, and then it rotates out and has that sturdy brace on the bottom. He's standing on it there to show how strong it is, and that's where he sleeps whenever he's camping. And he said this makes it really easy to hunt on the property because they're kind of limited to what they're allowed to take farther back into the property. So that's really cool, and just love seeing this. And this is another one that has a cool axle incorporated into it. It also has an extension arm that folds out thanks to the telescoping clamps, and then he's got the platform that sits underneath and just kind of holds everything up. And just again, really cool, really creative, and just love seeing all the different stuff you guys are doing. And this is an awesome one that solves a really unique problem, but really cool, and I think some techniques that you all can incorporate into different builds no matter what it is you're making. Really awesome. Thanks so much for sharing this. This is a book that was used in a marching band routine, and essentially this is a book that, as we can see here, it actually folds up. So here, actually this is probably before or after a show where it's all folded up, and we don't have a video of it in action, unfortunately, but this is really cool, and we can see here where it folds up and it actually has pages that turn inside of it. Don't have a clue how this was done, don't know really at all how he did this. I imagine some hinging mechanisms down here with the different connectors, but I see a lot of self-tapping screws, see a lot of connectors, see some flanges, so really don't know, but would love to know. So if you're watching and want to share, Adam, feel free to comment down below or email us, or post in the community some more information on the hinges that you use, because I think this is really awesome and just a really creative build. But essentially, whatever this apparatus is in the middle and the way he did this, it looks like just a lot of T connectors. However he did that, it's just really cool, and just allows him allows the people in the marching band to fold this up, and just really cool. Would love to see it in action, but if we don't, still really awesome to see the pictures, and we really appreciate you sharing them with us. This one was really awesome. That was shared a while back. This is from Jeff and Paul and his crew, and they did a California Surf Museum exhibit, all built with EMT conduit and MakerPipe connectors. As we can see, there's so much incorporated into this. You can see here, it's a really big build, a ton of conduit, a ton of connectors, and really awesome. There's a picture of the crew, which you love to see, and this turned out really cool. and it's pretty much just a giant exhibit that features guitars, and it's got pictures on it. It's got surfboards mounted, just a ton of really creative techniques. If you're interested in maker pipe and conduit, or guitars, or cars, really anything related to any of those subjects, definitely check out this post and scroll through all these photos and the video they shared, because there's a ton of really cool stuff in here. And this is one of those that never would have expected or imagined people would use conduit and connectors from us, but they did, and we love that they did, and love that they shared all these photos, because it's really cool, and it's just a fantastic exhibit and use case of maker pipe and conduit. So we really appreciate you guys sharing that with us. Next up are some more marching band props that were shared by Patrick, and these are ginormous shields, as we can see here, that were made with a lot of incremental bending, as we can see there. We got some EMT conduit, pretty much making full circles. Don't really know exactly how this was made. Don't know if they just used the handheld bender and the incremental bending techniques that we've mentioned on the channel in the past, or if they bought a bender. Don't know, but however they did it, it turned out awesome, as we can see in these different photos. A lot of cool techniques incorporated into this, as we can see as we scroll through here, and then we can see some photos of it all finished, and they are massive. They built a bunch of them, and they are on these carts that roll around. Looks like they've got some kind of storage spots on the back for imagine putting flags and rifles for the color guard. So really cool, really creative, and just one of those that is massive. And a lot of times we can look at builds because we've been looking at them for years, and we can know how people did it just by looking at it. But this is one of those that it's so complex and so creative, and got so much incorporated into it. I have no idea, but I know it's really cool, and really appreciate you sharing it. Next up is a Halloween costume that is just really awesome and fantastic from Ryan. Pretty much he built this cart and helicopter for his son for Halloween. As we can see here, it's all finished, and it's really cool. Has a spinning propeller on it, and it actually has bubble guns on the outside that shoot bubbles out, and there Ryan and his son is, and it's really cool. And we'll go to this video here where we can actually see it spinning and see the bubbles coming out and see it in action. This is another one of those. I have no idea what to tell you guys about how this was made. I don't know how he did the helicopter, the spinning. I don't know how this runs on drill batteries. It's just left me kind of speechless the first time I saw it, and every time I look at it, I really don't know what to say other than it's just really cool, and nothing or something I never would have imagined someone would have made with conduit and connectors. But here it is, and it's really cool, and we really appreciate you sharing this, Ryan. Next up is this fantastic driveway tunnel that Greg put together. A really great and festive addition to a holiday light show, or if you just want something cool to drive under every day as you leave and come home. Whatever the reason is, this is really awesome, and just love seeing this one. Essentially, pretty much just built these arches, I imagine using the incremental bending technique with the handheld tubing bender, and then just use some maker pipe connectors like the T and 180 to join them together, and then just added some lights and some different decorations to the outside, as we can see. And there it is, all lit up and just really cool, and sits on the outside of the driveway, and it's just really awesome across the board. So love seeing this, really great. Thanks so much, Greg, for sharing it. Last but not least are these patio covers that were shared by Steve, and this is supposed to be a grilling area. There's going to be grills on this patio, and essentially he built these really cool and unique patio covers that are going to go over top of the grilling area, or they are on top of the grilling area, as we can see here. And he has these really cool and fascinating bends that he did and incorporated in. I think he said he paid someone to actually do the bending, which is really cool. And he's a professional builder, so that really shows in this, because there's a lot of awesome things in this, and they turned out really good, as we can see there with the roof on there that kind of bends and matches the frame, and it's painted black and is mounted to the columns here, and just all in all, really awesome and a great addition to this space, and it's going to work really well for shading the grilling area, and just looks good on the back of the house here. That's really awesome, Steve. Thanks so much, Steve, for sharing this, and thanks to everybody for posting your builds. As always, we love seeing them, and there's plenty more where this came from. If you want to see some creative builds, check out the Facebook group and the Maker Pipe community. You'll see all kinds of great ideas there. And thanks everybody for all your support this year, for sharing your builds, and talking to us. Just whatever it is, we really appreciate your support and business this year, and we hope you have a happy new year. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.